Hi there, I'm KingJGrim or KingJGrim, so whatever you prefer, and welcome to another GameDisc video where I discuss everything from what I want in an upcoming game to just news in general in this business. And today I want to talk about a game franchise that I hold a huge passion for, even though it is severely underrated. Darksiders. So back in 2010, Vigil Games, who were then owned by the now gone THQ, made the first game in the series, simply called Darksiders. I don't remember whether I bought it early or not, but I do recall just randomly finding the game in the store as just the box art caught my interest. I'm so happy that I picked it up though, as it's pretty much Zelda, only with heaven, hell, demons, angels, and the ones you play as the four horsemen of the apocalypse. The synopsis of the story is that one of the horsemen, War, the guy we play as in the first game, prematurely starts the apocalypse. Or did he?
Nay, oh nay.
And because of this, humanity has been murdered by the warring angels and demons. So the rider has to figure out what has happened. However, in the second game, that came out 2 years later, you play as Death, the most badass of the horsemen, who rides off to prove his brother's innocence. The second game takes place while War is imprisoned after the beginning of the first game, so it works as a pseudo-prequel? I don't know, but that is the story. Nothing too special, but it gets the job done. However, even with the game's stellar reviews, they are not that much talked about, sadly. And when THQ went bankrupt, sadly no one picked up Vigil Games. However, when all hope seemed lost, Nordic Games, now calling themselves THQNordic, got the license, brought some of the original developers back together, formed a new dev team called Gunfire Games, and here we are today with the announcement for Darksiders 3. And yes, I am extremely hyped. So we now have a CG trailer and pre-alpha footage courtesy of IGN first, and they did not impress me that much. Definitely the trailer. I don't know why, it's just really slow. Even when they show the action, it kind of looks like they just threw it quickly together to show it to us. But while the trailer did not impress me, just knowing that we will get a new Darksiders for 2018 makes me really happy. So let's talk about what we know, what I like, what I really hope will be in the game, and what I may be a bit worried about. I think the most obvious thing we need to talk about first is the new horseman, or in this case, horsewoman, Fury. Where War was a very angry person, because, you know, Liam O'Brien.
I will punish the ones responsible.
You are not prepared! Dragon's Grasp! With all my strength! I'll give you! Making my daughter cry!
Does he only play angry, grumpy characters? Poor guy. Anyways, and Death had confidence and sarcasm. Fury seems to be a bit more, jolly, as she smirks with the idea of hunting down the 7 deadly sins. So I hope that we will get a very charismatic character in her own way. I also really like her design, definitely more than what she previously looked in the comics and the, earlier drafts. Would be a bit weird to run around almost naked. The look has a very old comic book style to it, and I love it. I will also say that her hair is amazing, have a very magical feel to it. Though not a huge fan of how she looks in the CG trailer. I don't know, she looks a bit weird here, but yeah, the pre-alpha footage shows that she's pretty awesome. So that's the character and my thoughts on her. Really happy with how she looks and the way she sounds. But what do we know about the game? Well, we do know that gameplay-wise, you will be able to have different side weapons, much like the other games, as on their website they have pictures of her with the Chaos Ether, a scythe, and in the gameplay that we've seen, she does have some daggers on her back, but she never uses them. We also know that her main weapon will be the whip and powerful magic. It will have the hack and slash gameplay like before, with an open world where you have to complete puzzles, dungeons and more, and the story seems to focus on what I mentioned before, Fury hunting down the 7 deadly sins. And just saying it now, the final sin will without a doubt be pride. Every piece of fiction that I've ever played or read or anything has that sin as the most powerful one. Seriously, just saying it right now. When proven right, I will proudly present it to you. So everything we've seen so far is pretty good, and the people behind it are a very passionate lot, so no need to fret. At least not too much. There are a couple of things that I've seen and from what I know that I'm a bit iffy on. So let's talk about the worrisome part. The first thing worth noting is the Fury's main weapon, the whip. Now I am sure that there are tons of attacks that you can do with this sort of thing, but the only experience I have with any game that has this sort of attacking method is Castlevania Lords of Shadow, and if you've seen my previous video on that specific game, you should know what I think about that. And with the gameplay footage it looks a bit similar. I will quickly say yes, I'm fully aware that this is pre-alpha footage, so I can't judge it too harshly, and to be honest, I'm very happy to where it is right now at its development, but I digress. What really makes me a bit stiff in the shoulders are the fact that Fury is supposed to be the mage of the four, and while I do feel that the whip is more of a long-distance weapon than War's blade and the Reaper's size, I kind of hope that they will make sure that it does have more reach. The open world is something I'm a bit worried about as well, as I'm starting to get a bit tired of them. When done right, I absolutely adore them, but there were certain areas in Darksiders 2 that felt rather empty. So I hope that will have, while many options, areas brimmed with characters, stuff to do, and artistically awesomeness that the two previous games had. Seriously, Darksiders have some beautiful designs. How they seem to be designing the story, however, is a bit annoying. They're still not moving on with the narrative, and still shows what the other horsemen did while War was in prison is a bit aggravating. I'm okay with it for now, but if they do it again with Strife's game, then I'll be balls to the wall angry. Though I am happy that they're giving each of the characters their own games before the eventual meetup, of which I'm certain will be legendary. And finally, on the worrisome side of this video, how contextual it all seems. Again, pre-alpha footage, I'm aware, but seeing the whip swinging mechanic with the stuff just sticking out looks very gamey. I didn't like in Darksiders 2 on how every climbable area had this wooden structure on it, as it just stood out to me, but I am certain that once the game is out, they would have worked it better into the world. It's always important to be critical. It will help not only the developers in seeing what the small things that every individual wants to see in the game, but it kind of also makes it easier to kind of appreciate the game even more by being critical. So let's just walk away from that point and let's go into what I would really like to see in this game, as I love this franchise. As the story seems to focus on the 7 sins, one thing I really want are awesome dungeons for each of these enemies. As Darksiders is very Zelda-esque, they have always had pretty awesome areas to explore, to find interesting puzzles and end with an awesome boss fight, and I don't want this to stop. Having areas designed after the sins would be quite awesome. It would be like how Persona 5 did it, but with the angels and demons themes, it can be great here. Bosses are also a must, having awesome encounters. I want to feel like a badass with a fine-ass fury, and there is no better way to make someone look cool than having awesome encounters with the big-ass enemies, or small one, it really depends, with awesome mechanics, design, and music. And music is something Darksiders has mastered! Jesper Kid truly made something for these games, and while uncertain if they'll get him back, I just want something as epic as previously gotten. Something I'm probably in the minority of is that I want the loot system to return as well, from the second game. Many had a problem with it for reasons I am unsure. Maybe it's because it could make you overpowered with certain gear, but I only focused on the look rather than the stats, so I never faced that problem. I doubt it will be here though, as every screenshot of Fury shows her in her main outfit without any difference whatsoever. But it's something I want, but don't need, as she looks great nonetheless. Something I do find important, however, is that as she is the magic user of the four, please don't use the same magic system as in the first game, because it sucked, and it wouldn't feel so good in this quick combat. Fury should have, in my honest opinion, an array of spells, all from direct attacks to more controlled enchantments, like controlling the mind of your enemies, or summoning something, etc. I just want long-distance magical combat. Final point I want to make is having a deeper combat system. Death's game had fluid, fast-paced combat, but very limited in the combat side of the menu, so I'm hoping for more attacks for Fury, which of course will help with the previously mentioned whip worry that I feel in my heart. And my heart is so ready for this game, absolutely. Darksiders 1 and definitely 2 have a special place in my gaming library behind me here, as the second game is the game that I've replayed the most out of, any game that I have. So, let's just hope that when Darksiders 3 comes out, that they will just knock it out of the park, so that it will get the popularity that it deserves, that this franchise deserves, because they're so good. But anyways, have you played the previous games? Write it down in the comments below. What do you think about the entire franchise? Have you seen the trailer and the pre-alpha footage? What do you think? Just write everything down below. And I'll see you guys next week. But until then, I'm KingJGrim or KingJGrim, so whatever you prefer. And I'll see you guys next time.